Do you ever feel uncertain about your ancestral roots as a Black American? Despite all the knowledge you may have gathered, there's still that lingering question: who are your true ancestors? Today, Black Americans face multiple theories about their origins, but none seem to provide a clear answer. Some believe all Black Americans are descendants of African slaves who were brought to America during the transatlantic slave trade. Others argue that Black Americans are a mix of African slaves and Native Americans who lived on this land long before European colonization. But there's one theory that might surprise you, and it's been largely hidden from the mainstream narrative. Perhaps it's because they don't want you to know, or maybe they've made this theory seem implausible. However, every proud Black American knows their heritage, and their ancestors were the original people of this land. But what does that really mean? Let's explore. Before we dive deeper, it's important to note that not every Black American can trace their lineage to a single source. Black Americans from different regions across the U.S. may have diverse ancestral backgrounds. This diversity is preserved through family oral traditions, which have played a crucial role in maintaining ancestral knowledge. These traditions aren't just stories, they are living records passed down through generations, connecting individuals to their past and shaping their identities through narratives of survival, resilience, and triumph. Elders in families often recount the experiences of their ancestors, sharing stories of migration, survival, resistance, and cultural preservation. By passing down these oral histories, families ensure that their legacies endure, fostering a sense of collective identity that connects them to their roots. While the details of these traditions may change over time, the core messages remain intact, reflecting the enduring values of each family's lineage. Therefore, it's reasonable to trust the ancestral stories passed down through Black American families, as they're more likely to be accurate than historical records from slave owners. Now let's explore the different theories. 1. African slave descendants. The first theory is that Black Americans are descendants of African slaves. Genetic studies today confirm that many Black Americans share African ancestry, with about 55% showing clear genetic markers from Africa. Historically, millions of Africans were forcibly brought to the Americas during the transatlantic slave trade. Although these forced migrations severed familial and cultural ties, Black Americans have managed to retain strong cultural connections to Africa, evident in language, music, dance, spirituality, and food traditions that continue to shape Black American identities today. 2. Native American ancestry. The second theory posits that some Black Americans are of Native American descent. Many families have oral traditions that speak of intermarriage between African slaves and Native Americans. Historical documents, like marriage certificates, census records, and land deeds, also suggest such interconnections. Additionally, genetic testing has uncovered traces of Native American ancestry in some Black Americans, supporting this theory. 3. Hebrew Israelite ancestry. A third theory claims that some Black Americans are descendants of the ancient Hebrew Israelites. Biblical texts, such as the Song of Solomon and Lamentations, describe physical characteristics that some believe match those of Black people. Oral traditions in specific Black American communities also assert ties to the Israelites, with practices such as following dietary laws, observing biblical holidays, and integrating Hebrew customs into religious practices. Genetic tests have even shown markers linking Black Americans to Hebrew Israelite ancestry, adding weight to this claim. 4. European ancestry. The fourth theory suggests that some Black Americans may have European roots due to the legacy of slavery, particularly through coerced relationships between enslaved people and slave owners. These relationships were often exploitative, but many Black Americans trace their ancestry to these unions. Family stories often describe ancestors with lighter skin or European features, and genealogical research sometimes confirms these connections, suggesting the presence of European bloodlines. 5. Caribbean or Latin American ancestry. The fifth theory proposes that Black Americans may have ancestral ties to the Caribbean or Latin America, regions where many Africans were brought during the slave trade. Countries like Jamaica, Haiti, and Trinidad became cultural melting pots, where African, indigenous, and European traditions merged. The Haitian Revolution, for example, was a pivotal moment in history, where enslaved Africans liberated themselves and sparked similar movements across the Americas. For Black Americans with Caribbean or Latin American heritage, these ties symbolize a broader diasporic legacy. 6. Original inhabitants of America. Lastly, there's a lesser-known theory, that Black Americans are descendants of the original black inhabitants of the Americas long before the arrival of Columbus and the transatlantic slave trade. Known as the pre-Columbian African presence theory, this idea challenges the conventional narrative of American history. Evidence such as African-inspired artifacts and architectural remnants in ancient American civilizations suggests Africans may have interacted with Native Americans long before European explorers arrived. Additionally, genetic studies in some Native American populations have revealed African ancestry, supporting the idea that African people were present in the Americas well before Columbus. What do you think? Who are the true ancestors of Black Americans? Could these theories have been spread to confuse Black Americans about their origins? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share where you're from and what you know about your own ancestry in the comments. Also, tell us which topic you'd like us to cover next. The most liked comment will be featured in our next video. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to support our channel and stay updated with more content. Thank you for being part of this journey. Let's continue uncovering history together.